yourself, what are you willing to do to be relevant and to win in today's climate in college athletics?
A shocking win on the field and a shocking shift at the temp for Temple football.
I'm Xavier Adams, live at the Leah Corr Center, and later on in the show, I'll be taking a look at the Temple women's basketball team and how they plan to approach a new season with a lot of new faces.
4 games into the season and the undefeated streak is over. We've got a game that went down to the final seconds.
OwlSports Update is live and it starts right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to OwlSports Update. I'm Gabriel Linington and changes are afoot at 10th and Diamond.
Yes, and I'm Natalie Koranda. It's been one of the busiest weeks in Temple athletics this fall, so let's get right into it. Less than 24 hours after Saturday's overtime win, Athletic Director Arthur Johnson announced that Stan Drayton has coached his last game in cherry and white. In his statement, Johnson said, quote, "I would like to extend my appreciation to Coach Drayton for his commitment to Temple University, our student athletes, and our football program over the past 3 years." He talked about how the players have excelled in the classroom and how they've been outstanding members of the community. Drayton then expressed his gratitude and wished his former team the best. For the final 2 games of the season, defensive coordinator Everett Withers will run the show. Withers said for his part, he said he had no advanced warning when he found out on Sunday.
I've got a lot of gratitude to have had the opportunity to work with Coach Drayton again. We've worked together 2 other times. I was in with a recruit yesterday afternoon, and I was told I need to go to a staff meeting.
Let's take a look at Drayton's career. There is consistency in the win column, but not the kind any program is really looking for. Drayton won only 3 games in each of his 2+ seasons, 9 and 25 overall, 4 and 18 in conference. The most glaring number is the 0 wins on the road during his time, and of course, no bowl games to speak of. Let's take a look at some history for coaching in cherry and white. And here you have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Start off with Matt Rule, who brought the Owls in the top 25 nationally, got game day here, and won a conference title in 2016.
Moving on to Jeff Collins, who took over in 2017 and was the last head coach with a winning record at Temple and is also the last to win a bowl game. With a 15-10 overall record, he led the Owls to a win in the 2017 Gasparilla Bowl versus FIU and left the team the following season to join Georgia Tech.
Rod Carey took over the ship from 2019 through 2021, and Temple football quickly went from good to bad. The Owls did make a bowl game in his first year, but Carey only won 3 games in his final season, finishing 12 and 20 overall. This is where the nation's longest road losing streak started.
And of course, that brings us to Stan Drayton, who took over after Carey. He's leaving the nest at the tail end of his 3rd season with a football program in need of a makeover. And now with Drayton gone, that leaves a team of players looking for leadership in the final 2 games.
To be a different person. I just feel like he was a great coach. I know this day and age is instant results, but I wish he'd have got more time. I think it caught everybody off guard. We worry about football in here. We don't worry about coaches coming and going. We just try to keep our main focus on winning games, playing football, so it definitely caught us off guard.
We all had tremendous love for Coach Drayton and what he's done to us, and tremendous respect. But right now, I think we're really just focused on this week. We kind of all as players went into his office and just kind of said goodbye and said how much we appreciate him and what he's done, including his wife and his daughter were in there.
Temple football is entering yet another offseason in transition. With the Drayton era ending, it's time for another coaching search.
And who better to talk about it than WHIP's very own football commentator, Pat Dallahan. Hey, Pat, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Pat, Our first question is the Owls win in overtime on Saturday and Drayton is fired on Sunday morning. Why now? Why not wait until the last 2 games?
Well, it's not so much about the result on Saturday. It's about putting the athletic department in the school in a good position to find the right coach. And by firing him 2 weeks before the end of the season, you get a lot more time to gauge interest and to find different candidates. FAU recently did the same thing. Rice fired their coach 3 weeks ago, and Charlotte fired their coach this week. So this is standard procedure in college football.
Well, Pat, the most important question, who should we be looking for as a replacement? And more importantly, who fits best with Temple?
Well, there's been a lot of names thrown around earlier. Obviously, Stan was fired on Sunday. So the 2 names that have been really loud and thrown around a lot are Elijah Robinson, the defensive coordinator at Syracuse, and Jeff Nixon, the offensive coordinator at Syracuse. So they're trying to dip into that Fran Brown coaching tree, who was once a finalist here at Temple. So it's something to monitor, but again, still so early. Drayton was fired 5 days ago, so there's a lot of moving pieces.
Well, Pat, thanks for sharing your knowledge and for coming on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
You can catch Pat back on this very same anchor desk next semester for our basketball show, Courts in Session. Pat, congrats.
Thanks, guys.
Of the Owls, Temple and FAU. Temple picked up a field goal on the opening drive in the first, but FAU responded with 7 early in the second. At the end of the second, Maddox Trulio misses his second field goal of the afternoon. Temple trails 7-3, moving into the half. Now into the fourth, halfway in, Therese Worthy secured a touchdown, and Temple is now leading this match with 12-2. Till up to 7. Final minute of the fourth, it's an 8-point Temple lead. The FAU Owls find the end zone thanks to C.J. Campbell Jr., but they still need a 2-point conversion, and they get it with a play that looks a lot like a Philly special. We're heading into overtime. In overtime, FAU attempts a field goal on its first possession, but this one is wide. So it's time for Automatic, kicking a 39-yarder to give Temple the win. Maddox picks up Temple wins this one 18-15.
You know, it's just not common when you got this new generation of kids where instant gratification is a real thing. You know, but our players have learned to really endure the hardness. You know, hey, you know, we found a way to get a win, right?
Take the overtime win and add it to the coaching change, and it's easy to just see how wild this past weekend really was. OwlSports Update's Emma Nolan was at the game and joins us at the studio set to talk more about the highs and lows of this past weekend. Hey, Emma.
Thanks, Natalie. The Owls have had a pretty uninspiring season, with their win total being exactly what it was last year and the year before under Stan Drayton. But the overtime win this past weekend brought some excitement to the Link after an interesting 4 quarters of play and then some.
Fisher as well. I mean, they all have the most faith in me, and that's something that I'm just so thankful for, is the opportunity that I've gotten here at Temple. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to show any, half of what I've been able to do if I had gone to other schools, so I'm so happy to be an Owl.
Win or lose, last Saturday's game against FAU was by far the oddest game Temple has played all season long. 2 teams with the same mascot, and more than 12,000 fans saw it all. Missed field goals that hit the upright, blown leads, a Philly special in Philly, but by the away team. And then overtime, a game-winning field goal to give the local Owls their 3rd win of the season.
Right, you just got to go out there with 100% confidence in yourself and in your operation and your unit.
Our players have learned to really endure the hardness. You know, we found a way to get a win.
And these weren't even the biggest storylines. Less than 48 hours after the overtime kick, not one, but both head coaches on Temple and FAU were fired.
What we've been enduring as a football program is a life lesson that these kids will take with them for the rest of their lives.
This was Temple's first overtime game since 2018. And now with their 3rd win of the season, the Owls have matched their win total in 2022 and 2023. The Owls still have 2 chances left to get that number to 4. But they'll have to do it with a new coach. 2 games left, including 1 more on the road, where the Owls will try to end the nation's longest road losing streak. Saturday's game in Texas will be Temple's final chance to stop the road losing streak in 2024, and it won't be easy against UTSA. The Roadrunners are undefeated at home. That's all I have for now. Natalie and Gabe, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Emma. Yes, that trip to Texas will kick off 2 games over fall break. The Roadrunners are 5-5, but as Emma mentioned, 5-0 at home. It's a shame Temple didn't get guys at the link. This Friday matchup is on ESPN2. We are up against our first break of the show, which means we're just getting started.
When we return, both basketball teams are recording mixed results. See you in 90 seconds with some road games for the Owls. Stick around.
Temple took a trip to New England to face off against Boston College last Friday at Conti Forum. Temple struggled at points, trailing by as many as 14 in the first half, but this squad has some stars. Here goes Zion Williams for the smooth spin and the lay-in. Down by 5, and Boston College is building some momentum in the first, but look who's showing up. Quante Berry shows off some athleticism and denies the lay. Coming into the second half, who else to turn to but grad guard Jamal Mashburn Jr. He had himself a game with 23 points. But the Eagles never let up. Temple up by 2, and Elijah Strong, true to his name, kills the Owls' momentum with the hoop and the harm. Temple had a shot for the tie, but instead the Owls are handed their first loss of the season, 72-69. Having the top recruiting class in the AAC paired with a magical tournament run that ended one win short last March creates a lot of momentum for the men this season. And one newcomer in particular is standing out, not only for his play, but for the name on his jersey as well.
There are many new faces on the Temple men's basketball team, but one of those new faces is actually an old name. Number 8, Dylan Battie, is a freshman for Adam Fisher.
Oh, it's just we work hard every day. We trust each other. It's a brotherhood here.
Battie grew up around Cherry and White, even though he was raised in Dallas. His father, Derek Battie, played for the Owls from 1992 to 1996, and just like his father, Dylan had offers from schools in the Big 12 and SEC, and decided to make the trip to North Philly.
It was a big family thing. My dad went here, so I really liked the legacy that I would be able to bring here, and it was a pretty easy choice for me.
As soon as he flew to North Broad from Dallas, Texas, Dylan Battie has been making an impact. The 6'8" freshman forward has already been named AAC Freshman of the Week just a few games into his collegiate career, showing that the fit is as seamless as ever.
It feels good. I get to really show the world what I can do, show the team what I can do, and they believe in me.
Battie is already producing effective minutes for the Owls, already giving him the nod for AAC Freshman of the Week.
I feel good. I'm going to just try to keep stacking as many of those as I can get and see by the end of the year.
The Owls were inches away from gaining a spot in March Madness last season. But with a top recruiting class and high potential pieces like Battie, taking that next step might just be possible.
Battie is one of 8 players on the team to have played in all 4 games this season. He's got another shot on Friday in Connecticut in the Hall of Fame kickoff versus Florida State.
Women's basketball traveled to take on VCU at the Siegel Center. The Owls split their last 2 games while VCU was trying to build on its 2-game winning streak. In the first, Temple up by 1. Tiara East gives Owls the 2 on the layup. She ends with a career high of 28. Moving into the second quarter, VCU's Grace Huston sinks in a 3 to take the lead. The score now 18-15. Moving into the fourth, it's still a close game and a defensive one too. The first points weren't scored until 6:08 left, but now with 2:30 left, the score tied. Kayla Turner missed the layup, but East is there to save the day, giving Temple a lead that it never gives up. The Owls added 6 more points after this one to make the final score 59-55. The Owls battled with Georgetown on Tuesday night in a 65-51 loss. Anissa Revere was the standout for the Owls in this one. She was able to notch her second straight double-double with 16 and 12. Shots beyond the arc were the difference maker. The Owls were lackluster from there, shooting 1 for 16 compared 6 to 16 from Georgetown. And when the Hoyas star player Kelsey Ransom is playing that well, you can't do much. She ended the night with 28.
Strong teams almost always have an established relationship between players. It's what often separates the good teams from the great ones. However, Temple women's basketball is working hard to find that relationship. With little time to spare, OwlSports update Xavier Adams has more at the Liacouras Center. Hey, Xavier.
Hey, Gabe. The women's season is already well underway, and there are some striking similarities to last year. With a lot of the new faces, the Owls will be hoping to have a repeat performance come this December, January, and March.
Another season and another rebuild for the Temple women's basketball team. The Owls have 7 new players on the squad this year, and while the names are new and many of the faces are new, the goal remains the same.
We still have the same identity. Like, we want to win. I feel like definitely this year we worked way harder. I feel like we have to because we are the underdogs.
Tariana Gary is one of the veterans coming back. She started 14 games last season, but the biggest weapon is Tiara East, who averaged more than 13 points per game last season. All of the other big names are gone.
We had to go find some dogs. We literally lost a good piece of our starters last year.
For the Owls, this rebuild is nothing new. Temple lost its first 3 out of 5 games last year with a lot of new faces before going on a run in the AAC. They would go on to share the regular season title, and now, over a year later, the goal remains the same.
I think the biggest thing was obviously their skill set, culture, and just how would they fit here with our team and with our staff. I think we found those in the kids that we brought in this year, which again is going to continue to build the tradition of some winning that's going to happen here.
The Owls still have 7 games left before their first AAC game. They're hoping this gives them enough time to gel before making another conference run.
Coming up for the Owls, they're heading across town on Saturday to take on the Drexel Dragons in a non-conference game. They'll play 2 more games in Philly before getting ready to head to Villanova on December 6th for the Big 5 Women's Classic. Reporting from the Liacouras Center, I'm Xavier Adams, OwlSports Update.
Thanks, Xavier. We are now up against our second break of the show, but there is still plenty more to come.
When we return, it's the final stretch for volleyball, then our favorite part of the show, Broad Street Banter. See you in 90 seconds. Welcome back and into McGonigal Hall. The Owls had their penultimate matchup of the season against a strong team in ECU. The Owls in Cherry needed to win to keep their postseason hopes alive, and it was a nail-biter. The first set went back and forth, and both teams were battling offensively, but the Pirates were the first one to grab the first set, 25-22. The second set was a similar story but a different outcome. Temple was able to win this one 25-23, carried by 6 kills from Sydney Jones. Temple did gain momentum and win the third set, but ECU storms back to take the final 2 sets, 25-13 and 15-9. Temple is eliminated from the postseason, and the Owls end up 14-16 on the year.
Back here again for a little bit of Broad Street banter. This time we are going for a change-up compared to our last edition.
Last time we highlighted our favorite players this season. This time we are talking about our favorite moments of the semester. So, okay, my pick is a bit unconventional. I'm picking the Diamond Marching Band for being selected to perform at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Macy's selected the marching band from a pool of more than 100 applicants from the nation, and now the Cherry and White are one of 9 bands chosen to perform in the holiday tradition in 2025. The marching band brings the heart and the soul to the Cherry and White, and if you've been around Temple, then you've definitely heard the Diamond Marching Band. Each year they welcome students to campus, cheer on athletes, entertain crowds at sporting events, and support a huge number of other events. Every time I go to a basketball or a football game, the band members bring all the school spirit, and they deserve to be recognized for all that they do.
Now for a more athletic pick, I'm going with Temple Field Hockey. In the Big East semifinals, the Owls defeated the Old Dominion Monarchs in a double overtime game, thus beating the same team the Owls fell to a year ago in the semifinals. This game gave Temple its first appearance in the Big East Championship since 2015 and its third ever. Although the Owls did fall to UConn in the finals, this was still a wonderful season for the team. To recap, the Owls ended their season with 12 wins, giving them double-digit wins in 3 consecutive years for the first time since 2012 through 2014. It defeated 4 ranked teams and was also perfect at home for the first time since 1981. All of this made for a historic fourth season under head coach Michelle Vitisse.
Both bright spots for the Cherry and White this semester, and many more to come in the spring. We are sadly at our last break of the show. On the other side, Gabriel joins us at the studio set to talk about a club team preparing for nationals.
Plus, one of our very own just so happens to hold a very important role in that team. We'll have the rest in just 90 seconds. Welcome back to OwlSports Update. Temple's 14th ranked co-ed club field hockey team will be traveling to Virginia Beach this weekend to compete in nationals. OwlSports Update's Gabriel joins us at the studio set with a preview on how they are preparing. Hey, Gabriel.
Temple has some very strong club teams, and field hockey is right there. Now, we are a bit biased, but our favorite player is the one that sits between the pipes. Kylie Haberstroh is our senior producer here at OwlSports Update, and she's also the club's team's starting goalie.
Temple University's club field hockey team does it again. It's preparing to head to nationals this weekend for a 3rd year in a row. Senior Kylie Haberstroh is in her 3rd season as the team's goaltender, which means she is 3 for 3 heading to nationals.
I want everyone to play well, and if they don't play well, then it also reflects on me, and if I don't play well, it reflects on them.
Behind me, you can see where the Temple Club field hockey team has been training hard all season. The team is ranked 14th out of 43, and their hard work and dedication has led them to compete at nationals.
For most athletes, being a part of a team means showing up for practices and games. But for Temple's club field hockey team, building bonds through activities beyond the field is just as important.
This year we've done a lot of team bonding. We had a fun Halloween practice where we all dressed up. One point we did yoga.
The Owls are gearing up for nationals with twice-weekly practices, dedicating a total of 4 hours to extensive drills as they ready themselves for competition.
We've also been doing a lot more running and conditioning, which is super important because in our game it's like 60 minutes of just straight up running.
The team will compete in the nationals Saturday in Virginia Beach. If they win their pool, they will compete on Sunday in the next round and possibly later in the day for the championship.
Kylie and the crew were not able to get out of pool play in their 3 previous trips to the national tournament. We're hoping the 4th time is the charm. Reporting from the studio set, I am Gabriel. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks, Gabriel. A lighter weekend for Temple Athletics ahead of fall break. It's Friday Night Lights with the Roadrunners for football as the Owls head down to San Antonio. Men's basketball travels to take on Florida State. Now on Saturday, women's basketball takes on Drexel at home, while the men are on a road again to take on UMass, both on ESPN+. We have finally reached the end of this crew's last show. We must thank everybody that made this semester happen, especially our producers, Logan Matthews and Patty Heckard, our senior producer, Kylie Haberstroh, and of course, the man in charge, Matt Fine, #TrustTheFine.
Be sure to catch the final episode of Inside the Nest on Tuesday at noon after break. And Michael Merville and Julia Green are back 2 weeks from today for our flagship show. Thank you for tuning in and have a great Thanksgiving break. We'll see you soon.